Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Figured we'd do this once a year kind of live tour sort of thing, so everybody can kind of see the fun stuff going on. So we'll give this a minute for everybody to kind of kick in, but this is kind of the entryway to my little nook that I like to call a Gremlins Museum, and I like to collect a lot of gremlin art, as you can see. This one is probably a personal favorite. And then we can kind of pan up over here. And then up here, we've got a couple of Sasha Finer replicas that are kind of keeping guard here. This is probably easily one of my favorite pictures ever made, because this is like kind of the big group photo from Gremlins 2 of not all the puppets, but a good amount. And so you can kind of see all the little mogwais down there. And then I've got a few of those in there in the collection. You can see the big Daffy there, and then the big Gizmo. And then all the hordes of background gremlins in the back there. Got back gremlin there. So there's even more artwork on this side. My wife likes to have kind of like a pretty chill, kind of neutral house, but this is my nook and kind of make it a little crazy. And a couple more Sasha Finer replicas sort of guard the entryway here. And then down over here, we've got Gyron. Switzerland, I think he is, his Ultima Ratio. He makes some unbelievable Gremlins 2 replicas. So you can see that Gizmo, he's just fantastic. That's probably about as good as it gets for Gremlins 2. And then we've got George there. And we've got a couple of Brian Best Gizmos. And here's another one. This is one of his earlier ones. And you can see a whole bunch of 3D printed stop motions and various like poses and stuff. Kind of fun. These still need to be painted. They're pretty cool though. And I've got a bunch of 3D projects kind of going on at the moment. You can kind of see these are various states. This is my newest one. It's a nice scaled Greta gremlin. Pretty cool. It actually came out really good. We're going to do some tweaks to that though, I think, in the very near future. So, I guess we can go into the room. These are probably my favorite artwork right there. All right, so welcome to Gremlins Museum. So, this little section over here is for the Wayless Gremlins from the original movie. I have a spot open right here because another one's going to be coming in real soon. And so where space is kind of a premium here, we kind of have to keep it, sort of allocated, I guess you could say. So we can start with this guy here. This is we consider like a hand puppet. So somebody's hand would kind of go in there and move the mouth and stuff. Eyes don't really move, ears don't really do much, but he'd be sort of in the bar and the movie theater there, so he's a real beauty. I got extremely lucky with him. And Tom Spina's team kind of took care of reattaching the head, and he was kind of a pretty big mess. There's really not many of these guys left in the world. And he was looking pretty good. And then you can kind of see his hands there pretty good. Lots of great detail. You can see all the cracking in the original foam and everything. It's being held together pretty well, all things considering. And then we can go over to this guy. He is very significant. Most of those background puppets you could never really screen match because they're all more or less from the same mold and all that. But this is actually what they would call a super gremlin. So he has kind of all the animatronic wires coming out of the back of his head there. And what's really interesting about him is, I don't know how well you can see it, but he has these little clear things in his eye there. They're called a nictitating membrane. So essentially, there were only like a few of these made before they kind of scrapped the idea, I think. And so they're easier to kind of spot in the movie, the ones that have this, especially with the new 4K cut. And so you can see under here a little bit. But anyway, he's pretty positive he's the one that screwed with Mrs. Deagle's chair going up the stairs there, and then also he's the gangster gremlin. So pretty cool little piece. Most of these original ones, they kind of got beheaded because that's sort of the weak point of these puppets. And yeah, so a lot of the bodies kind of just got thrown away and they kept the heads. So it just sort of is what it is. And then coming over here, this is where the original Gremlin sculpt is going to be here, hopefully next month or so. And that'll be exciting. These are pretty cool. These are Gremlin controllers. And so from the original Gremlins, these would control like a lot of the animatronics and stuff. So these could get pulled and they had wheels on them and everything. It's very exciting. These are some Gremlins 2 controllers over here too. So these would control like kind of the arms and stuff. So moving over, actually I guess we can go down here. There's some interesting stuff in these cabinets. I need to work out some sort of lighting situation. We haven't quite got there yet. So I like this a lot. It's kind of just weird and rare. This is from the Japanese overdub sessions. This was a lady who played Kate, and this is her script. So she has all sorts of notes in Japanese and stuff in there. It's her full script from that, which is pretty neat. This is Dick Miller's personal script from the first Gremlins, and it has all his notes in there, including a bunch of like kind of ad-libbed lines and whatnot. So nice little display. Down here, it's a little bit of chaos because I'm running out of room pretty much everywhere. And I really like the old like videos and video games and stuff like that, the old artwork. Some crazy stuff, especially from Japan. So you can see some old Gremlins 2 VHSs. This one in particular is pretty weird. I think that's Swedish, South Korean, maybe Russian. This is the abridged version on Super 8. And let's see. This one just came in recently. Where was this from? I forget. I knew it, but it's a pretty weird one. Kind of just goofy stuff like that. I really like the old, just weird formats too. They released it in video 8mm, so kind of almost like what you would have for like a handy cam back in the day. So I wish they made a Super 8 Gremlins too. That would be awesome. You can actually see the reels for it right over here. And they made this like video 8mm for a few different ones. It's kind of fun. One of the movie police pins from the Gremlins too. And then let's take a look at the other cabinet. Sorry, I got a lot of stuff here. Let's see here. I have to close this door. Okay, so I've got Gremlins 2 clamp book that came right from John Glover. That was really nice of him. These are the kind of inner sort of mechanics of almost all the Mogwais from Gremlins 2. And this would be like for the hand puppets, so you can actually like sort of slide your finger into those and move them around. Gremlins 1 crew jacket, John Horace storyboard binder from Gremlins 2. Very cool. I've got a CWI animatronics. That's Chris Walas's company. This is the crew t-shirts that you would see people wearing on set a lot. There's actually one of the Gremlins is wearing one of those in the movie, in the theater scene. We've got a bunch of cereal stuff. These are kind of like advertisements that you would see in the grocery stores. What's in the book? The book is, I only got the cover for the clamp book, and I ended up using, what did I use for the book? I know back then they used Oprah's biography. That's what fit it well. So everybody had like Oprah's. They must have bought a bunch of those. I've got the suit gremlin feet because I don't have a better place for them at the moment. These, I'll get into that in a few minutes, and then this is really cool. The gentleman who is in this photo sent this to me, and it's him posing for the John Alvin original cover. And this is what John used for the original, kind of the artwork for the movie poster. That's me, Bill McCloskey, age 23. I think that's super cool. And back over there is a Gremlins 2 premiere ticket. Also pretty neat. I have a bunch of stuff. I'm not displaying them really great at the moment, but these are the Clamp Cable News decals that were all over everything. And then this was the original Gremlins logo back before. Actually, the same guy, the guy who's in that picture, he designed the Gremlins logo. But this is what the original logo was. So, all right. So let's put these ones back here, and then we'll move on to some more stuff. So this spot will be taken up probably in the next month or so, and then it'll just be all 84 Gremlin stuff over here. So moving over, this is the suit gremlin. So somebody would actually have this on their head. Those were gloves they put their arms into. And I think it's pretty cool looking. It's kind of like this is back when they were still trying to figure out kind of what they wanted to do with the gremlin design. So it's kind of a little bit of like the Wales design, a little bit of the Baker design. Jim McPherson sculpted it. Steve Wang painted it. So pretty cool little piece. It's pretty huge and kind of attention grabbing. I like it a lot. So moving over, now we're getting into the Gremlins 2 stuff. So this is our friend Greta Gremlin. I love her a lot. I think she's fantastic. This is the one that's actually, you see that picture all the time of her just sort of hands on the hip. That's this puppet here. And let's see. We'll get in a little closer. So this puppet is just like chock full of animatronics. There's actually like servos coming out of the top of her head that are being hidden by the wig. And she was designed for kind of fluttering her eyes and then doing that kissing motion. So whenever you see that in the movie, it's this one. She's the main puppet too, that sort of comes up in the New York scenes where she has the ball gown on. So she was used quite a bit. You can see some of her controllers kind of in the back there. What's kind of cool about this, I think that most people don't know, is her feet are actually kind of sealed into the shoes, so they could never really fall off. You can see some of the controllers a little better back there. And then moving over, next we got our friend Vegetable Gremlin. This is the main Vegetable Gremlin that they used. He has a hand puppet. So kind of similar to the whale-less one, somebody's hand would be up in there and moving the mouth. And then there were controllers on either elbow, so his arms could be moving around. And this one controller down here moves his eyes and then also blinks. So his design is, I think, just the most incredible out of all of them, to be honest. It's just nuts. The amount of just detail work in this is just really, really good. He's sealed up pretty good, so he's in great condition. So great puppet. Before we go on to the next one, I guess we can look down here. This is more of the chaos. I've got a whole Mohawk section of just random Mohawk stuff. I like Mohawk a lot. So a lot of these are just like goofy Japanese stuff that's come out. recently. And then there's even more down here. So nothing like super notable or anything. It's just kind of fun. And then over here we've got a bunch of striped stuff. The skeleton is just, it's a replica, but it looks really great. So got a bunch of striped stuff there. Down here we've got a bunch of kind of just fun merch. This clock WB put out a while ago, and just like there's not too many of them, but they're really they're pretty fun. And then a bunch of like just interesting merch. They put out these like cans, like don't open it, and it's just like kind of junk inside of it. It's nothing really particularly exciting, but this is kind of funny. Just Gizmo, just a crazy picture of Gizmo. The artwork is just weird. Gizmo lives here. It makes no sense. So that's that stuff. Oh, these are really cool too, actually. These are from Japan. They're like these little head knocker, like kind of keychain things, but like they're actually like pretty well made. So I like those a lot. All right, let's keep moving. So next up, we've got one of the Hero Lenny puppets. He is huge. If you kind of compare him to Vegetable, you can see like just what a lug he is. He's so much bigger. But he's got all that great design work. Like some of these paint works are insane. Like really, really well done. So pretty happy with him. He got restored the last year or so. So he's got controllers kind of similar to Vegetable down there. I know, I think it's eyes and ears maybe on him. I forget. Moving over, we've got George. And this was one of the throw around puppets. So he, I don't think this one was used, but he's probably the best like preserved one at this point. A lot of these puppets weren't like abused quite as much, and so they retained a lot of the detail and paintwork and didn't need quite as much restoration. But you can see the only kind of interesting thing about this puppet is normally the George puppets his eyes are just like kind of like super deep red, and this one they're like not quite that way. So there was sort of a interesting design choice made at some point to do that for this particular puppet. And then we can look down here. This is sort of my Gizmo collection, I guess you could say. All sorts of just Gizmo chaos. So these ones on the right here, the screaming Gizmos are the center and the right one were from Japan. There's a NECA one down there. There's the bootleg Furby Gizmo. You can see right there. Got the animated show Gizmo in the back. That's pretty cool. All sorts of stuff there. That's from Japan. That one in the center. He's pretty weird. And then just down here, we've got the whole NECA crew, which is clearly out of room there as well. Everything's out of room right now. It's an ongoing problem. All right. And then down on the end here, we've got Mohawk. And this is the Paint Master Mohawk. So this is what they would have shown Joe Dante to kind of like approve the Mohawk design. So this came right from Steve Wang, which is kind of a little added significance. Pretty fun. It's beautiful paintwork on it. He was restored up this year. Everything's pretty much the same for the final Mohawk paintwork, except for the back is kind of like slightly different. They ended up changing a little bit, but you can imagine just like how much work went into painting this thing. It's incredibly detailed. And then down here, just because growing up, this was like my favorite image ever. I had the original Gremlins 2 Nintendo game, and I thought that picture was like the greatest thing ever. And so I ended up getting one of the original sealed games. And then I think I posted about this recently with the kind of bootleg tape soundtrack for the video game. So anyway, there's Mohawk. Eventually we'll get a full puppet of Mohawk, but for now, this is great. And then moving over to here, now we get the Mogwais. There's that Greta image I was talking about earlier. That's the same Greta we have, except this is a skateboard. So this is Daffy, and this is a like a prototype Daffy design. It's pretty close to the final, but I like it a lot. It's kind of a fun little puppet here. And then this is the Hero George Mogwai, and he's an animatronic. So whenever you see that little gray wire down there, that's sort of the animatronic wires. So his whole face is filled with servos and whatnot, so he can blink. And those controllers on the right side, that's kind of what moves his arms. And I don't think he has feet controls, but this was the main puppet used in the movie, so he's kind of pretty cool. The hand puppets were sort of the main kind of acting puppets. There were other kinds made, but these were the quickest to sort of just get in and like just working, you know. So, and then moving across, this is the tongue Lenny. So this was made specifically for that shot when they're going to the frozen yogurt place, and then Lenny sticks out his tongue and kind of gets all excited about the yogurt. But he has this whole rig made just to kind of stick that tongue out and still be able to act with all the normal servos in his face. So he's a great looking puppet. And then we've got Mohawk. These are my favorite type of prop. They didn't use these quite as much. Mostly in like the promo photos, this was sort of like the main kind of thing. So they're probably the best looking puppets, but they were such a pain in the butt to set up that they didn't really use them quite as much. But you can see all the servos and wires and everything here, kind of like leading up to the puppet. So he's just absolutely gorgeous. And then this is the main close-up Gizmo. So they made one of each of these for Gizmo and Daffy. And so whenever there was like a close-up that needed like extra emotion, they would use these types of puppets. And he's essentially like a late 80s giant robot. And let's see if we can pan down in here. It's a little hard to see, but there's a whole slew of wires and controllers down in there. And so whenever you see like close-ups in Gremlins 2, this is the puppet. So including like the Rambo scenes at the end, yeah. And I wish I had his bow and arrow. I don't no idea where that is. But this guy's really special. And these hands down here, someone would actually wear these on, like a puppeteer would wear those. So there was no real controllers to do the hands. So they were able to get sewed on. And the same thing happened for the Daffy. So Daffy's just wrapped up, and so he'll be here soon enough. But it's kind of cool to have both of those puppets. There's only one made, and these things probably cost like $250,000 to make each. So really special puppet. You can actually see, since I'm right about here, you can see them in the big group photo there. So that's the Daffy there and the Gizmo. So I think there's one other section here I can show you. And then we'll go upstairs and see the last couple puppets. This is just crammed full of stuff. So one of my first memories ever just being alive is like this rub and play transfer set, which I was gifted it. And it's pretty neat little thing here. And then just a bunch of random stuff. These are from Japan too. You can kind of sense a theme here. Just a bunch of random goofy Japanese things. They have like a grooming kit. So pretty cool. So we can go upstairs and I'll show you the rest of the horde. You see a little crate down there. All right. A bunch of the stuff that's going to ultimately be coming in here is kind of either in restoration or being wrapped up now. So this is Phantom Gremlin, the guy who got hit in the head with acid. So he's a cool little puppet. He was absolutely destroyed. And he was a multi-purpose puppet, so he's used all over the movie. You can see these little tubes kind of coming out, and I'll show you why. Maybe I can show you why. So it's a little hard to see, but he has all the bubbling back in the bubbling back that was used at the end of the movie. So he was used all over, but pretty significant puppet though. He has really pronounced eyelids. And then coming over here, we've got Bat Gremlin. So this was the puppet that whenever you see Bat Gremlin flying around, kind of not the stop motion, it was this guy. He was a real pain in the butt to get in because he's just so friggin' big. But he was designed to flap his wings, and there's photos of him up in the air with like a camera and they're shooting down on him. So he's a big guy. I mean, it's just the case alone is about 5 feet. So you can kind of see, let's see if we can look down on him. There's a lot going on with this puppet. So my hope for the future is I'm thinking Phantom's going to go there. I have a brown gremlin being restored right now. He's going to go there. And then I'm actually thinking about moving Gizmo up here, the big one. And then I'll have Big Gizmo and Daffy right next to each other. And then I have a foot display that I think is going to go there. So we'll see. Did Tom Spina do most of the displays? He did some of the stuff. Tom Spina actually originally worked on this bat. And to kind of get it ready for the Rick Baker auction. And so he was originally kind of like shored up to be in good shape. And yeah, and then my buddy Jeff, he kind of did the work to kind of reduce the giant rig on him. So that's basically the collection. I'll answer some questions if you guys want. Yeah, that was the one from the Rick Baker auction. Do you have any of the Garbage Pail Gremlin cards? I've seen them. I don't know if I really have any personally. I love this guy's hands. They're so like scrawny compared to the rest of them. Why not move everything to one room? I don't have a big enough place. The room that everything was in downstairs is actually a pretty sizable room. You'd be surprised, like, just how much is crammed in there. What made me fall in love with Gremlins? I don't know. It's just interesting. It has a sense of humor that I think resonated with me and a lot of other people, and kind of, I don't know, it just makes me happy. They're beautiful little art pieces, you know. So talk about the great puppet. It's just a replica. It's not a real one. How come Mohawk Gremlin didn't have red hair? I don't think he ever had hair. How do I obtain a high quality print? Oh, you can message me. I wish that 84, that was not the one that right before the high host started. I wish it was. That was my hope when we were first kind of diving into that. Let me see. I actually thought it was a really good chance that it was the one that says yum yum. I was really hoping it was that gremlin, but it didn't end up being him. So I was a little sad about it, but he ended up being like a few other guys, notably the gangster one. So, you know, not one to complain there. Is this a private collection? Do you offer in-person tours? Occasionally allow people over to come see stuff. Some low mood lighting would be cool. Yeah, we'll work on that. one thing at a time. Um, did you already show the other room? I logged on late. You have to come see the replay, I guess. What was the most expensive animatronic prop from your collection? I don't know. Gizmo stuff seems to go for the most lately. Does Joe Dante or Chris Columbus know about your collection? I met with Joe earlier this year, thanks to a buddy of mine, and it was pretty fun. So I get to show pictures of the collection to Joe. So it's kind of just like a special little moment there. Um, he's a really nice guy. Just I don't know. I think he probably thinks all of us are crazy and stuff, but that's cool. Where did I find the clock? It was just online, I think. What is my favorite gremlin? My favorite Mogwai is the Mohawk. No question. That's definitely my favorite. I love him. And favorite gremlin, it changes from time to time, honestly. I like vegetable a lot, I think long term. Do I work in effects or other films? No, I don't really collect any from anything else. Just this. I think the way my brain kind of works is it it likes just sort of cohesion. And so I'm like, I can focus on one thing at a time, you know. So, do I see myself giving the collection over a public museum one day? I'm hoping to ultimately do a deal with Mopop here in Seattle and see if they can't, see if I can loan it out for like a year or something. And eventually, I don't know, I feel like it could be a cool way for more people to see this rather than, you know, try to hold tours and stuff here. Um, let's see. Do you have any cells from the opening sequence to Gremlins 2? I do. I have one, and I also have the original pencil drawings from when they were playing it out. Yes, you do have the original Spider Gremlin. Did I dig the animated series? Yeah, it was actually better than I expected. It was pretty fun.